And good evening. This is Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019 at 7 p.m. I'll call this meeting of the Stowe Board of Selectmen to order. And as usual, we'll begin with public input on anything that's not on the agenda. Linda, Bob, anything? Anything you want to talk about?
All I
Anything at all?
want to tell you is census forms are out, please get those back. Dog licenses, we're able to do those online, so look at our website and look for the little online payment. It's really quick, easy, and voter registration, and as soon as it's all set up for meeting for election and stuff, nomination papers will be ready in another week or so.
And what's the deadline at which the price of dog licenses goes up? So do your dog license before April 15th,
Yeah,
before it goes up.
they technically expire December 31st, and then the bylaw, you
Tiptoe?
have to put a
Yeah.
day to license, which is the end of this month, but the town of Stowe gives a grace period.
I've had the
until
worst
April
luck lately.
Okay. Thank you. Bob, anything? Chairman's comments, I actually don't have anything. Anybody want to suggest anything? I don't have any public comment. All right. Meeting minutes.
I do have one comment.
Yes,
Can we start
Mr. Town
bringing paper towels to the meeting?
In 5 years, I've done this once.
Actually, from now on, new rule, any selectman want drinks at the table, sippy cups.
I apologize to my colleagues and to the those in attendance and to the entire town.
It's all right.
I came out clean though, surprisingly, that's right there.
We'll send the bill for the refinishing to you. Jonathan, thank you. You're
Thank you.
the jack of all
I should
trades
leave
tonight.
that. It's gonna take more than that.
So, everyone, Jonathan Daisy. Meeting minutes, we have two sets of minutes, one from our meeting of December 11th, December 11th, and one from our meeting of January 8th. Thank you, Maureen. The minutes of December 11th, I met with Maureen, I gave her some very brief comments. They're at your place. Thank you for doing that. The changes I suggested are in red. And they were on page 3. She just gave you the changed pages. I took out the reference to straw vote. I just don't think, like, the Attorney General would like that. And I took out the name of the applicant who informed us that he preferred to wait. That didn't seem necessary, and who knows what his job situation is. And these things show up on a Google search. Any other changes to or comments on the minutes of December 11th, 2018?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
On January 8th, Selectmen's office budgets, it says, I move to approve the Selectmen's office, doesn't it say who?
It does.
Who?
Let's take that up when we get, I'm doing December 11th, I'm doing one by one.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. But you're right, it does. I think Mr. Burke has a comment on those too. So, on the minutes of December 11th,
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of December 11th as amended.
Second.
motion is made and seconded to accept the minutes of December 11th, 2018 as amended. Further comment? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that is unanimous.
Abstain.
Oh, because Mr. Burke is not here, so let the record reflect he abstains. And the minutes of January 8th, 2019. Ms. Hageman, could you repeat the comment?
Yes, the first page of those minutes, under the Selectmen's office budgets, the motion is represented as I move to approve it, it should dictate, or despite, maybe, I honestly don't remember.
I don't think we actually made a motion to support it because it was going to be reviewed by the town administrator going forward, and so I suspect that Maureen may have just
Left it in there.
that had this as I'll call it a placeholder for the
Okay.
motion.
So then what was the action, that the board took no action? Is that what we should say in the minutes then?
I think the last sentence, the way I changed it to, it was the consensus of the board to let the town administrator's budget process play
Just
out. I
close
think
it
that'll
there.
take care of it. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Maureen, did you, so that, what's in italics can be taken out?
Mhm.
Any further comments? I think Mr. Burke, you had something?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. There's a notation here in your public comments that you announced a public forum regarding complete streets. I don't remember that exactly that way.
I can check on the tape.
Would you,
Yeah.
I think I said something about a public forum. I don't think it was complete streets
Okay,
though, because
okay.
I'm on complete streets, but
Mhm.
whatever it is, could you
Yeah,
change
sure.
it to that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
page 2, third paragraph. I told the board that he has decided to sponsor an article. I suggest propose might be a better word. I don't think the town administrator sponsors articles.
Okay. So, did you get that?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Mr. Ryan?
On that same page, Mr. Wrigley also mentioned the MCAD case, to your point of leaving people's names out of it. I don't know if that's,
So that's public. That's public, isn't it, that decision? The MCAD decision?
okay.
I was concerned, the applicant for the position, I wasn't sure whether he
Mhm.
was a finalist, whether his name was public or not, and if his employer does a Google search on his name, discovers he's looking for a job. Whereas the MCAT decision is public.
The only other thing I had is on page 1, under the gift to the cemetery. It says that Jim Sauter of the Friends of the COA, while he is Friends of COA, he wasn't here in that capacity. He was in here as, his capacity as the executor of the estate, as well as a
Art.
friend of it.
I forget his last
I
name.
forget his last name
Okay.
also, but I think that, probably leaving the Friends of the COA
Yeah.
out and putting one of the executors of the estate or something along those lines would be.
Maureen, did you get, so take out friends and put in co-executive of the estate?
I think that's a good catch, but I think the nomenclature now is personal representative.
Okay.
But he used the term executor.
Fine, let's use it
I
that
think
way.
we're okay with executive.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Anything else? Maureen, you have all those comments?
Yes, I do.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of January 8th, 2019 as amended.
Second,
Motion is made to accept the minutes of January 8th, 2019 as amended. Further comments? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that is unanimous. All right. Correspondence. Did any of my colleagues see anything in correspondence for future agendas? Mr. Ryan?
I think maybe, I saw the letter of resignation by Charles Barney.
We're moving toward a certificate already. There was also something there about a applicant for the constable position, which has been open for a while. That'll be on the agenda for the next meeting, that appointment. Hopefully that individual can be there. Anybody see anything else? Okay. Linda, do you mind if I take up their item first? I got
don't care.
3, okay, thank you. I'm gonna take something out of order, gonna go to the discussion on dissolving the Cable License Advisory Committee at the request of the Local Access Channel Advisory Committee. You've got some materials in your packet, including a memo from Mr. Glorioso, the chair of LINCAC. Do you guys wanna add anything?
Arnie should,
Well,
he's a CLAC, so he'll tell you what happened.
I'm what's left of the cable committee.
What's your name?
Arnie Buckman,
Arnie,
Sudbury Road.
Okay,
I was on the cable committee when it was first formed, when we first issued the license to, I believe it was Adams Russell at the time. And, the hard part of the job was getting the license so that these companies could get into town, make whatever arrangements they had so they could lay cables, the wires, help them get permits so they could dig up the streets, whatever they had to do.
yep.
And establish what the requirements were for installation. And once that's done, and all arranged for the town drops in the town buildings, and that's been done. And basically, the only thing left now is we're up for a couple of renewals that are coming up shortly, in a couple of years. And the renewals should be pretty basic. There's nothing really spectacular happening. So the only function left for the cable committee is to raise money for the TV group. And
That can be done by
that
LACAP.
can be done by themselves. And like I say, when Lou was chairman of the committee, we had about 4 or 5 members. And when Lou was forced to drop out, he really wasn't replaced. Nobody wanted to be chairman. And little by little, people just kind of left. And right now, there are technically 2 of us still around, Bob Mong and myself. And Bob Mong has already expressed a desire not to further participate. And that leaves me to negotiate with Comcast and Verizon. And I didn't think that was really a terrific idea.
So when the renewals, thank you, Ray. So when the renewals come up, who will negotiate?
Well, the last one we did with Comcast, LeCac led the charge with help from
Okay,
Cable Committee.
and
we're ready to do it again.
so all the more reason for, before the cameras turned on, Bob and Jonathan and some of us were talking about the possibility of abolishing the Cable License Advisory Committee as an independent committee, but folding its functions into LACAC, which seems to be how you're already operating.
Exactly right.
Okay, so, thank you for bringing this administrative cleanup to us. Sounds like it's well worth it and timely. Mr. Town Administrator.
I think it's a great idea. As a practical matter, there's a governance agreement that was developed and approved by the Board of Selectmen, which established a separate CLCAC, if that's right. So we'll just have to go in and clean that up and get you to revote a new governance agreement,
Okay.
which will either simply void or meld together. I mean, I guess what we're saying is we're simply going to dissolve the CL.
As a
AC.
separate.
So I can draft some language, you guys approve it,
Yeah.
and you sign the new governance agreement.
I think all we want, I'll go to you in a second. I think all we want is when we get questions that don't belong with the LACAC, because they don't involve the local access channel, but they involve the cable contract as a whole, whether it's a renegotiation, a complaint, or something like that, we want somebody to be able to legitimately refer it to. That would be LACAC. And so let's just fold the functions of the Cable Advisory Committee into LACAC. I don't think you gotta call it anything specific. I looked it up, it doesn't look like you even have to have one other than with our governance agreement.
Right, statutorily, you had the option to
Had
do
the
what
option.
you wanted to.
Right,
And so what I'll do is I'll just take the functions that CLAC were performing and just
Put it-
make it, add it to the functions that the LACAC have.
Mr.
Unless
Burke,
there's some other approach or somebody wants to take.
Point of information, may I ask the
Mr.
town
Burke.
administrator a question?
please.
Would it be possible for our motion tonight to give you authority to change whatever is in the
And then
governance
come
agreement?
back
to
for you to review and approve.
Well, I mean, if we need to come back and approve,
Yeah, because it's been executed, it's
Fine.
a signed document, so.
then, okay.
Yeah.
So we need to take no action on this.
I think we could either take no action and just sort of informally direct the town administrator or take him up on his offer to redraft the governance agreement, or we could take a motion to ask the town administrator to redraft the governance agreement to fold the functions of the Cable License Advisory Committee into the Local Access Channel Advisory Committee.
That sounds like a motion to me.
So moved.
Second.
Further, motion made and seconded to fold the functions of the Cable Advisory, what did I say?
Clock.
That's why I didn't want to try
The
to.
Cable License Advisory Committee into the Local Access Channel Advisory Committee. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is that all right? That's good? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
I do have one question.
Mr. Rowe?
How long has this advisory committee been around now?
I don't know the exact original date, but I was cleaning up my room a while back and I found my original cable bill from Adams Russell for $9.95.
Wow.
I hope you're gonna stay on as an
Mr. Chair?
associate or whatever.
Well,
Yes.
he's already an associate.
Okay.
So how long have you
Mr.
been
Burke.
doing this, Artie?
Mr. Chair, I
When the
vote-
cable come to Stowe, whenever that was.
Well, it was when the statute was, that created the surcharge that is included in the cable subscribers' bills. That, I mean, cable had been here probably since the 60s or 70s,
No.
I would assume.
No.
Not here? Anyway, it had nothing to do with cable. It had to do with the new law that allowed each town who passed it as a local exception to charge the cable subscribers a surcharge. And that's allows the towns to receive, it's a 3% on, I believe it's 3% on each one of you that have cable. If you look at the detail, you're paying to
Yeah.
provide the
Yeah.
funds that created the local access cable.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Burke?
I believe the date, and this is based on my memory, so take it for what you will, it is 2005.
And you remember this how? You were waiting for cable so much?
No, in reviewing some of the documents,
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
and I remember it was discussed briefly at our LACAC meeting. And having the,
Before that.
I think it was before that.
was the 80s?
It was in the
Before
80s.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, then, okay, then I stand corrected. Something happened in 2005.
How the,
Verizon.
That was Verizon.
Ah.
Verizon came in. We already had the Adams Russell, then came Cablevision, then
Oh, okay.
AT&T, and then Comcast.
So that's what I was remembering, I apologize.
That's
But as long as I have the floor, if the chair will permit, especially since we seem like to have a light agenda tonight, I was gonna cover this in our liaison reports, but Mr. Daisy has some interesting news about where he's gonna be next Tuesday night.
Oh,
Icon, Club Icon, under Mr. Burke's suggestion, we submitted 12 of our videos over the last year to the Mass Access, Mass Creators Award competition. We submitted 12, 3 of them made it. One was Noah Travelin and Isan, I'll get his last name wrong. The 2 guys who did the EMT program at the Shoba video, which I think should win. And then I got a couple for music performances. So I'll be at the club to hear the
it's
the
3 out of
winners.
12.
These are finalists
Only 12 finalists, and we have 3 of them.
in the,
Oh,
That's statewide.
that's very cool.
Where is it, where is it?
for
occurring?
one
the
award.
Club Icon.
Where, you don't know?
It's in Boston,
Oh,
so
okay.
I get a free meal and then they tell me who won.
Congratulations.
That's really good.
Thanks.
So, I just want to understand, there are 12 finalists and we are 3 of them?
No, there's a bunch of categories. We submitted 12 separate videos.
Okay, and
3 of them
are finalists.
are finalists.
So we don't know whether we won or not.
No, not till that night.
Okay.
Have to go find out, I guess.
I hope Mr. Burke keeps us informed of that.
Oh, yes.
It'll be something worth noting.
Oh, we'll
Yeah.
You'll let
we'll
us
be in
know.
the paper.
If you win, you.
If we win.
Yeah.
If we don't win, you won't hear anything about it.
Yeah, that's a way, that makes perfect sense. So, oh, well, that's good. Thank you, Mr. Burke, for bringing that up. Thank you, congratulations, and good luck.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Make things a lot easier
The
for us.
reason I was asking is I was just wondering how long Arnie's been doing that, and obviously over 30 years.
Yeah, so you're gonna keep doing it, that's good.
Thank you,
All
gentlemen.
right, thank
Thank
you.
you, Arnie, for serving all those years.
Thank you, Arnie. So let's take up setting the dates for the annual town meeting, opening and closing of the warrant. Linda, do you wanna, Maureen? Maureen?
Well, we're working on our timeline, sneaks on above me every year, so, we've decided, obviously, it starts with town meeting. This year will be May 5th, May 6th, and 7th if we need a second night. And we back that out to the warrant opening tomorrow and closing Friday, March 15th.
So, the dates of town meeting again, the 6th and 7th?
Yes.
So the dates of annual town meeting, setting aside May 6th and 7th, and the opening the warrant for the annual town meeting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 23rd, and closing it Friday, March 15th.
Did you say 5th and 6th, or 6th and 7th?
5th and 6th.
6th and 7th.
6th and 7th.
Sixth and
We're looking at
6th and
5,
7th,
6.
okay.
5, 6.
First Monday in May.
Thank you.
Any comment, anything you wanna add, Linda?
Just that the election will be, the annual election will be the 14th of May. I think you all have a vote to set that date and to the positions that will be on the ballot as of now.
Okay, we'll take that up in a moment. Any further comment from my colleagues? No, okay, so do I have a motion to open and close the warrant?
Mr. Chair, I move that,
Ed, I was hoping Ms. Hageman.
He was.
sorry, I
I like the
apologize.
tone of her voice
I-
better than yours.
Who doesn't? But I apologize.
I move that the board open the May 6, 2019 annual town meeting warrant on January 22nd, 2019. What?
Tomorrow.
23rd.
It says the 22nd.
Yeah.
right here.
23rd, and close the warrant on, we said March 15th?
Yep.
Okay, 2019.
It's March.
Motion's been made and seconded, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to open the warrant on Wednesday, January 23rd, close it on Friday, March 15th. Further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then for the annual election, I think we have another motion. Is there a motion?
Brian can make that.
No. Your voice is so much more mellifluous.
It's a light agenda,
No.
people, but still, I would like to.
I move that the annual town election be held on Tuesday, May 14th, 2019 at the Center School, 403 Great Road, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the following offices. Board of Assessors, do I identify each one and their terms and all that stuff? Okay. Board of Assessors, 1 3-year term. Board of Assessors, 1 unexpired 3-year term expiring 2020. Board of Assessors, 1 unexpired 3-year term expiring 2021. Board of Health, 1 3-year term. Neshoba Regional School Committee, 1 3-year term. Planning Board, 1 5-year term. Trustee, Randall Library, 3 3-year terms. It's a big one. Board of Selectmen, 2 3-year terms. Moderator, 1 3-year term. Housing Authority, 1 5-year term.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to set the ballot for the annual town election to be held on Tuesday, March 14th, 2019.
May
Um,
14th.
What did I say, March? Sorry, for Tuesday, May 14th, 2019, at the Center School, 403 Great Road, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the offices as read. Any further comment? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Chair?
you. Yes?
Quick question, when will nomination papers be available?
I would expect next week. Now that I have your vote, now I'm authorized to get those prepared and out there.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And this is the first time that I've had all 3 assessor seats up for election on the same year, but because we've had a couple of deaths. and,
Yes.
Appointments, so those now are getting elected for their remaining terms.
I wasn't aware there were 3
Three assessors.
open seats on the trustees of the library too.
Yes, because there are 3-year terms and there are 7 members.
Oh, okay. Okay.
3, 3, and 2, or 3, 3, and 1.
It's a good thing we have you, Linda. It's
Well,
like,
thank God the ones before me kept a lot of it ahead. This is my 18th year.
All right, so thank you, Linda. I think next we have the town administrator's report. Do you have anything to report not in executive session?
I do not, I've been missing for the last week.
Yeah.
We're not missing, I've been out of
well, I'm
work.
glad you were found.
We missed the report.
Who found you?
Missing the administrator's report.
Who held you?
That's probably a Freudian slip.
Missing or
Probably,
misplaced.
so I wish I was missing.
I just had this visual of Bill doing yoga, finding himself.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
A picture,
I
mental
have
picture of
comments
Bill's
in
face on
executive
Milford.
session, but my absence for a week, I don't have anything
That's fine.
public.
Let's do liaison reports real quickly, and then we'll go to our executive session. Let's start with Mr. Burke.
Council on Aging is progressing, they're getting their budget, or they've gotten their budget into the town administrator, and they want something else, but this might not be the year. And I've already reported on OAC. And also, I don't know if we mentioned this in correspondence, but Charles Marney will be resigning from the ZBA.
Yep, thank you. Mr. Hawks.
Lake Boone Commission met last week. We finalized the language on our recommendations for our operating rules and the bylaw amendments, which we will, for the latter, which requires town meeting approval and submission to the state. It's a result of about 13 months of debate over a lot of cases minutia, but it turns it more into a policy statement than a set of rules. I'm sure you'll be riveted to read it once you get to see a copy of it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Capital Planning met last week. I think as I mentioned before, it's a very challenging year, and in our strategic planning meetings with Bill, Rich Eckel of the FinCom, and Steve Jelinek of the Capital Planning, we spent some time talking about the capital projects. For purposes of my colleagues, I just want to identify 3 items you really kind of want to keep in mind this year as we go through the season. One is $400,000 in proposed improvements to this building, the town building's HVAC system. Another.
Is it 400?
400,000, yeah. Another is from the fire department, replacing engine 14 for $625,000. That was on the capital schedule, but not for this year. Apparently, problems with the pump have moved it up. I don't know much about it because we haven't met with Joe yet. And then, of course, the last item, and this is only an extremely rough estimate, is an estimated $500,000 item for lower village traffic improvements. There are other items, but they're much lower in magnitude. That's all I wanted to highlight for all of you. Tom?
I suppose first, I've just got one question for Bill that relates to this. You had a chance to talk to Chief Bosworth at all?
Today, no.
No?
I'm not through all my emails yet, to be
Yeah,
truthful with you.
I'm sure. But one of the things, hopefully after Bill gets a chance to review it, we had interviews with police officer candidates last week, and we ended up selecting one to recommend to the Board of Selectmen, but we wanted to get Bill's final take on it when he got back. So I anticipate that hopefully we will have a candidate for the next meeting, if all goes according to plan. The other thing is that a lot of the initial work has been done for the town hall renovation committee as far as getting the contractor in and taking a look at things. We wanted to make sure, all we have right now is a verbal report on a number of items, and we didn't find any nasty surprises, shall we say. You know, there's one section that part of the wall had collapsed in there, and we were wondering how bad it was. It appears that it's not it's not load bearing, and it's more dirt that washed through and things like that. But it's nothing that is going to require any kind of emergency action. That was the biggest thing we were worried about. But
That's good to know.
the contractors have all gotten in there. They've checked out things. Doug Hyde's been doing a great job, you know, working with them, coordinating with them, and hopefully within about a month we'll have a full report on the condition of the building, and then we'll start figuring out where we're going to go from there.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Board.
Just an update on the smart bid process for the removal of the buildings on Red Acre Road. They had a public walkthrough, had several interested vendors, and proposals are due, I think, a couple weeks from now. I'm not positive, but just the fact that we have a fair amount of interest is good news. That's all for me.
All right, thank you. I'll take a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing potential litigation, not Lower Village. We will not be returning to open session.
I move to go into executive session with the planning board pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3, for the purpose of discussing probable litigation.
Friendly amendment?
Finding that a public discussion would be detrimental to the town's position, is that what you were going to suggest?
Plus the fact that I don't think planning board is going to be meeting with us tonight.
True. So,
All right?
so the motion is a public discussion being detrimental to the town's position. The Board of Selectmen will go into executive session for the purposes of discussing pending or potential litigation.
Second.
Okay, let's say Mr. Ryan made that motion.
Yes, absolutely.
And we will not be returning to open
You
session,
got it. Just
and
call vote.
this is a roll call vote. Ms. Hageman?
Aye.
Mr. Ryan?
Aye.
Mr. Hawks?
Aye.
Mr. Burke?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And we are in executive session. Let's
There
wait.
we go.